Do you experience ringing in the ears, headaches, dizziness, nausea, and can't figure out the cause? When did these occurrences begin? Do you have a smart meter, something that reads the meter on your electric, gas, or water? Hi, I'm Mary Bourne, traditional naturopath, and I love sharing natural remedies with people for better health. Today we're going to talk about something that is difficult to hear, and I apologize if it makes you feel uncomfortable. Today with me is my dear friend and neighbor, Deb.
Hi.
And we're going to go into a subject of toxic radiation, and it's something that is not being talked about, and it really needs to have more people understand what it means. You probably are watching this on a device like an iPhone or iPad or your computer, and maybe it's one of these that are wireless. And what that means is that it is sending out waves, and these waves have radiation in them. And you may not remember the old cable dial-up things, but this is safer and better as far as getting signals. But we have been told that wireless is the way to go. And although wireless allows us transportability, we can go different places and still be on Wi-Fi, connected to Wi-Fi. We can go into a restaurant or whatever and be connected to Wi-Fi, but we are not being told the whole truth. And today I just want to give you a little smidgen of what that truth might look like. So we've been told that wireless is safe because it transmits non-ionizing radiation. Exposure to, this is from the National Cancer Institute. Exposure to ionizing radiation, such as from X-rays, is known to increase the risk of cancer. However, although many studies have examined the potential health effects of non-ionizing radiation from radar, microwave ovens, cell phones, and other sources, there is currently no consistent evidence that non-ionizing radiation increases cancer risks in humans. Wrong. They lie. They are basing this information on a 25-year-old study done by the Federal Communications Commission. And what that study was a plastic dummy head, and they didn't even have the cell phone next to the dummy's head. The receptor was inside the plastic, and plastic doesn't really mimic what our skin and bones are like. And they only tested it for 15 minutes. Now, who is on their phone for only 15 minutes in a day? So this was before smartphones. I mean, these were phones that were like these big clunky things. They look more like walkie-talkies than cell phones. And you probably can see that the technology is changing constantly, but we are not being told what the effects of this technology can do for our health. And so I just really want to talk to you about what the scientists, what evidence is out there that the tech industry doesn't want us to know about. They have no interest in doing any studies. None, because they know that it is dangerous. Now, you know what? I'm not here to scare you. I'm here to offer solutions. So please stay with me. I will offer some solutions. But before we go any further, I want you to reminisce with me for a moment. I can remember being pregnant and going into a grocery store and looking at this man with his big cigar smoking away in the produce section, and I'm nauseous at the exposure I had to endure because there was no ruling that you couldn't smoke in grocery stores. That's right. You could smoke in grocery stores and restaurants. You know, how abominable that is right now to think that people could subject you to secondhand smoke just at will. So there really was no non-smoking section. If you went to the smoking section, that smoke drifted. You know, smoke has no barriers. Yeah. It just floats. And I also remember when there was smoking in an airplane. And if you were in that airplane for more than an hour, you were getting, if you were in the non-smoking section, you were getting the same air that the smoking section got. Who are they kidding when they said non-smoking section? This is ridiculous. Well, I want to catch that moment, that what is ridiculous, okay? So, I understand that radiation is new stuff and it can be a little hard to wrap your head around, but bear with me. Just take it in trickles, okay? Because you really need to know what is going on. Your cell phone, I don't want to give up my cell phone. I don't want to give up my iPad. I'm not talking about giving up these devices. But there are safe headsets. Get yourself in a cable situation. Shut your Wi-Fi off at night so that you can sleep. So there are solutions. There just have to create a habit of protection. So, well, maybe you think you're safe. You know, I mean, maybe you believe this 25-year-old study, which will be repeated by everybody whose interest it serves to sell you Wi-Fi, okay? So be aware that that's a 25-year-old study that they are repeating and repeating, that there are no studies that show that it's, and what they were studying is called thermal radiation. And so there's two basic radiation. It's the waves and the frequency of these waves on the impact of the body, and there's the thermal, the heat. Well, I can tell you that my cell phone used to emit tremendous heat. I'd have it next to my ear, and oh my God, my ear was just like burning off. And in my hand, you know, I could feel it. There was a sensation in my hand. But oh no, there were no studies that proved that this was going to happen. Who are they trying to kid? I mean, it's common sense lets you know. So here are some of the symptoms that people are dealing with. Headaches, tingling in the hands and legs, pain in the head and ears when using a cell phone, cognitive problems, brain fog, heart palpitations, sleep disturbances, exhaustion, tinnitus. It's epidemic. I mean, almost everybody I know has ringing in their ears. You know, nosebleeds, kids coming home from school with nosebleeds, dizziness, nausea. So, well, maybe you have a few of these and you've gone to the doctor and he's offered some medication for them. But do you really want to continue taking medication when there's a solution for the problem? I don't think I want to. Now, here's another thing. Do you have a smart meter? You know, most of the people around our neighborhood, at least, are connected. Their utilities are connected by way of a smart meter. They came out and they ripped out our analog meters and they told us we had to have these and that we had no recourse in these and that they were perfectly safe. There was no problem with them. Okay, well, let me tell you that that information is flawed. And, you know, maybe you think it's a great thing because you're not your privacy isn't going to be affected by some meter reader and it won't get your dog upset or whatever, but you're paying extra for this. What that does is when those waves come in to read your meter, it's not only reading what's coming from that meter, it's reading your neighbor's meter, it's reading all the electrical wires in your home that are off-gassing, if you would, this radiation. And those people who have been able to go back to analog or to have a device put on to protect them from these scatter rays are seeing tremendous drops in their purchase, the utilities that they're purchasing. And they're also seeing some of these conditions disappear. So there are things out there that we can protect ourselves with. And if you can, go back to the analog meter. Make sure, you say, well, I'll read the meter. Give me back my analog meter. And if enough of us stand up for this, then they will listen. But many people don't even know. And that's the purpose of this video, is to let you be aware that, and because I don't have time in this conversation to tell you all about it, I am creating a page in my website to make 5G awareness, that you can go to videos, and they can be from 5 minutes all the way to an hour and a half, of where you can get educated on what the doctors are studying, the mounting evidence of harm by those people who are scientists who have studied the wireless and the effects of 4G and the proposed effects of 5G. So I hope that you go to my website and check it out. It's bornforhealth.com, and I will have that page up within the next 2 weeks with links so that you can check them. And now on my Facebook page, I also posted a video. It was a very short video of Dad to Dad. Now, it isn't just about dads. It's a lot of people need to watch that video. And what they're saying is the communication companies are hiring these young kids to let you know that it's the next best thing. It's really great. It's wonderful. And here's all the advantages. And you're going to be able to download a movie in 3 seconds. And do we really want to compromise our health for convenience at that point? I'll wait 5 minutes for my video to download. I don't need it to download in 3 minutes. I don't play games, and so it doesn't affect me in that manner. But the thing is that they are not realizing that, here's what they're saying. They're saying non-ionizing radiation only affects the skin and eyes. Well, hello? Do you not want to see this video? It's like, what is wrong with you? And here's the other thing, is that Dad to Dad video talks about testicles. The testicles are very close to the skin. And we already, in the last 20 years, have lost 50% of the sperm count in men. Now, okay, in another 20 years, if we lose another 50%, where is this civilization going to be? What is wrong with people that they don't put 2 and 2 together and listen to kids promoting these things? Please, let's listen to the scientists who have the ability to go in there and check all the records and to do the testing and to come up with, yes, this is something of great concern, that we have a real concern ahead of us if we don't stop this snowball falling down the hill. So one of the things radiation is attracted to, do you remember the antennas, and you would put some of you aren't old enough to remember this, but you put tinfoil on it for better reception, so we know that metals attract this energy. So if we, thank you for that little thumbs up thing, so if we have heavy metals in us, we will attract that radiation more so than the person who doesn't. Now, my husband and I both do ionizing foot baths. And what that does is it actually pulls out toxins from the body. And some of the toxins are metals. You can actually see little metal flakes. And it's like overwhelming for me, because like, how does that metal come out of my skin? But it does. And there are other things you can do to get the metal out. Now, of course, if you have mercury fillings, maybe the better choice is to find a dentist that works with that in the removal of it. Maybe you can only do a few at a time or whatever. But we know people who have had amalgam fillings say that they can actually hear radio stations when they click two metal fillings together. It's like, okay, that is not so strange anymore. Now I understand where that can be coming from. So, we need to become aware, please, especially for the children. If this civilization is to improve, is it going to be like the fall of Rome or the Aztecs? Are we going to die out because we're not being aware of what was going on? The Romans, it was because of lead. They had no idea that the mugs they were using and the armor that they were using also created poisoning. So anyways, getting back to some solutions, one of the things that we can do, because this radiation oxidizes the blood, what that means is it makes the blood clump together, which is great for clotting, but not so if those clots create harm in our body for strokes or heart attacks. So if you want to have free-flowing blood, the better thing to do is to combat the oxidation with antioxidants. That's what that word means, antioxidants. So it stops this oxidation from occurring, and that's in fruits and vegetables. You need to eat lots of fruits and vegetables so that you can help your body detox from these heavy metals. So one of the things, there we go, that my husband and I take is turmeric curcumin. Now, curcumin is the active in turmeric. So in other words, you need to eat this much turmeric versus this much curcumin to get the same antioxidant effect. There is mounting research that's being done on this. It's really, you Google it, it's right away. There's tons of research on turmeric and curcumin. So these papers are available on my website, bornforhealth.com. And let me just read to you one short part of it. It says, mounting research suggests curcumin may offer preventive and or therapeutic benefits in Alzheimer's disease owing to its antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, and anti-amyloid. This is the plaquing that occurs that they can determine the amount of Alzheimer's the person has, or the scale with which you're affected. And these are neuroprotective. So by taking a product like turmeric curcumin, you can help protect your body against this non-iodizing radiation's effect of oxidation in the blood. So the topic in my Herbal E-gram I send out every Monday. I send out this, and even though Monday was a holiday, I still decided I needed to send this information out, was about 5G, the new Goliath. So you know the story about David and Goliath, and everybody was betting on Goliath because he was huge, he was big, he was awesome, and such a menace that they laughed at David. What's he going to do? David took a rock, put it in a slingshot, hit Goliath in the forehead, and knocked him dead. And that's what we need to do. We need to become the Davids in this fight against radiation, because these cell towers are going to be put every 2 homes, and at schools, your children are going to be exposed in astronomical waves of this radiation, and nobody cares because it's being told by the communication people that it's perfectly safe. And it reminds me of that joke about the voice from the cockpit comes on and says, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to be aware that this airplane is perfectly safe. It's the newest and best airplane, and right now we are running on autopilot, and nothing can go wrong, can go wrong, can go wrong. Okay, how does that make you feel? Oh yeah, I feel real safe and secure about this, you know. So you know what? Big tobacco was the first industry that pushed through legislation to make them less liable. That's right, you know. They could go out there and create ads and tell you that smoking was really great for your nervous system. It calmed you down, and it said nothing about being addictive. And here's your doctor, and this is his favorite choice: Camel cigarettes, and you know, the Marlboro Man, and they made it very seductive, and a lot of us got hooked on it. And it, you know, nothing was said about the effects on the lungs and heart and all of this. So let's talk a little bit more about solutions. This is Heavy Metal Detox, and it's a supplement that you can take that is been created for getting the heavy metals out of the body. Heavy metal-induced toxicity resulting from chronic exposure to heavy metals is quickly becoming a serious health problem around the globe. Conservative estimates state that upwards of 25% of the U.S. population, so that's 1 in 4 Americans, so if the 4 of you are in a family, then 1 of you has heavy metals and you need to do something about it. So, and they suffer from this heavy metal poisoning with symptoms that medical doctors are scratching their heads over. They totally don't get it. But we are being contaminated from the air. You've seen these chemtrails. We have them all the time. We'll have a perfectly blue sky, and all of a sudden the planes will go by, and there'll be white puffs of smoke, and those puffs of smoke are full of aluminum, and they get into the air, and we breathe it. You know, it's in our water. It's in our fish. It's in our land. So we need to be constantly detoxing from these heavy metals, and they affect our ability to think properly. And cognitive health is on the rise of, you know, people who have problems thinking, mood, depression, anxiety. All of these are affected by heavy metals, and there are solutions out there. You just need to be aware of it. So share this video with other people. I am on YouTube. You can look for my YouTube channel. I have a link to my YouTube channel on my website. So please, on your cabled computer, be sure to look into my website. So you know what, I want my grandchildren to have the ability, if they want, to have healthy grandchildren. This is what the American Indians, you know, the men would make all the decisions, but before they made the decisions, the wives would powwow, and they would get together, and they would contemplate what their decision, what these men's decisions would be on the 7th generation. How would that affect the 7th generation?
Wow.
Do we do that?
No.
No, we don't even realize what's happening in our generation, no less 7. So we need to be more cognizant of what's going on. You know what? I didn't know doesn't cut it anymore. We have at the tips of our fingers all kinds of information. What we have to be able to do is take that information, go into our heart, and say, does that make sense? Who is it that's telling me this? Be questioning, be aware. You know, the technology industry is like the big tobacco and the big pharma. They will push through their agenda, and they will just bowl over us if we do not take a stand. So when your cell phone is in use, put it in airplane mode. When it's not, try to shut your router off at night so the Wi-Fi signals are not floating through your house, even though you don't need them. You know, just it takes a little more time to put that router back on. Or when your printer is not in use, shut the Bluetooth off. Just be aware that all of these signals are floating through the walls. They're not, since 4G, everything can come through the walls. That's why reception is so much easier with Wi-Fi. But you know what? We never had that problem with cable. When we had cable, we had really very good connection. It isn't about the old dial-up thing. It is really good, solid. It's not going to be affected by walls and all that. It's coming through the cable. So get connected through the cable. So, and minimize your children's playtime. You know what really bothers me is I'm going to a grocery store and I'll see these moms put their phone next to these toddlers so that they can be entertained while they're shopping. They do not know that their eyes are being constantly affected by that non-ionizing radiation coming off of that phone. And these are growing brains. We need to tell them about this. We need to share this information. So please be checking on my website for the 5G information link and spend an hour or two a week and get yourself educated on what's really happening. Get in touch with your council and your representatives and find out, are these cell towers going to be put on your home, on your light pole, and you're not even going to be aware of it? And once they're there, forget it. The recourse is really tough at that point. Your council people will know, and they're given money to put these out. They're getting financed. So the trillions of dollars that are being spent by the communication people is just awesome. But you know, children are getting more anxious, they're getting more depressed, and is it any wonder that they're on these screens and they're not outside playing, and they're not sharing information with each other and learning the ability to talk with a person one-on-one. This texting thing is they've lost the ability of human touch, and you need to do that. We are humans that need that constant touch with people. I'm being told to watch my timing here. So if you want information on the heavy metal or turmeric curcumin, you can go on my website, bornforhealth.com, and look under Herb Encyclopedia, and it will give you that information and all of the studies that have been done on trying to get heavy metal out of the body. So here are the action steps for today. Use the airplane mode whenever possible. Find out where the cell towers are near you, and you can find that out through your council people. You can also, there's a link that you can go to find out where the nearest tower is. Now, you know what? These towers actually diminish your property value, which is another subject. You know, I'm only into the health part of it, but there are other aspects that are going to figure in that will affect you that you need to know about. The minimum effect is 2% loss in value. They have been in other selected towns where these cell towers are being put in. They're called small cell towers. The people have lost 15% of their property value. Do you know what that means? Now, what you can tell the community people that this is a loss in their revenue. You know, is it really worth it for them to do this? So there are people that can help you fight this situation, and there are solutions available. So share what you've learned and recommend these videos to your friends and family. Keep focusing on gratitude. Be thankful for the people and gifts of nature around you, the flowers, and all the joy in your life. I thank you for viewing. And until next week, this is Dr. Mary for the Health of It.